back once again. It is time for another edition of Inside the Headset. 2025, 80 days away. I'm on the campus of Rockville High School, home of the Rockets. And I'm with the new head coach of the Rockville Rockets, head coach James Counce. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good, thank you.
Well, Coach, you took over recently, and Steve Lukert, the principal and the administration and faculty, hired you on here. You've been here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you, the people from Rutherford County. I mean, it's not like you were over at Smyrna or over at Oakland or any of the other schools here in Rutherford County. Tell us a little bit about you and where you played high school football and so on and so forth. Where'd you grow up?
Yes, sir. I grew up in Paris, Tennessee.
Okay, beautiful part of the country.
Yes, sir. And, I played for my dad there and graduated in 1990.
So was he coach at Henry
He was
County?
the head coach at Henry County.
Okay.
Coached me. And
How many years did he coach?
he coached two different stints there at Henry County, 35 years.
It's a long time.
At Camden, Dyersburg.
West Tennessee ball.
NBA, we went to NBA for a little bit, and ended up back at Henry County. Got to coach my sons, his grandson, won a state championship with both of them there. And,
That's a lot of fun.
yeah,
I've been on a couple of those.
If we were to write it up, you couldn't have scripted it any better. And now that he's gone, I cherish those moments.
And how long has he been gone? Sorry, lost. How long has he been gone?
He's been gone 5 years.
Okay.
So, we're.
Did he go out coaching, or?
No, he had retired, and I was the head coach at Henry County, and we were actually at UT Martin watching my younger son play that day, and he wasn't feeling good, but everybody was there, and he left. He was living in Dyersburg at the time, so he left, and it was an afternoon game. We got home, and we got the call about 7 o'clock. He was sitting on the couch, eating, and his wife, she turned around, went in the kitchen, and came back, 30 seconds, and he had a heart attack. So.
Died in the middle of football season.
Yep.
Went out the way you wanted to go
Yep.
out. I mean, you don't want to go. You want to go out.
It's usually about the first week of it's the when the playoffs start.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but with that being
So where
said,
were you? So you were at Henry County before you came here. Were you the head coach of Henry County?
I've been the head coach for 11 years.
Okay. So what got? I mean, the taste. What to come to Rutherford County? What crawled up in you? I mean, you played against Will. Then you were the coach against Will.
Right.
When
we played Riverdale last couple of years.
I didn't get to do that game because it would rain.
Right.
I was scheduled to do that game.
We played them at our place the first year, and then last year we came up here.
And it rained.
Yep. And so anyway,
So you knew about this region. You knew.
Yeah,
you've been watching
I
it.
went to college here and played for Coach Donnelly at MTSU.
Boots. You played for Boots.
And got a lot of people up
I
here.
graduated from EKU, so I was a colonel. I was a colonel through '86 through '92. So
Coach
Elroy
Kidd.
Harris,
Yep.
Elroy Harris, all those guys. Jesse Small, Myron Guyton. Oh,
Yep.
we had all those guys.
So I know, of course, back then it wasn't but 3 high schools.
Yeah. Well, it's four.
Four.
We had Laverne. If you had Laverne and Smyrna formed, and then but the two schools, the anchors, of course, have been Oakland, been around over 50 years.
Right.
Been Oakland and Riverdale, and so and since then, and then Blackman sprang up,
Right.
and then Siegel came along, and then Stewart's
Stewart's
Creek, and so
then Rockville.
the bingo. So
So-
that's where we are. We've added 4 to it, and given a total of 8 schools, all of them at 2,500 students. Here in a county of what, 375 and growing. I mean, you can't come out. I mean, it's been since last fall since I came out here, and to come from Murfreesboro out here, it's like a war zone to get out here.
Yeah, it's stuff going up everywhere. Subdivision right over here. They just finished with the dirt work stuff, and now they got like 10 homes up. They'll have it full with new houses before the summer's over with. But my cousin is Scott Wright. He lives up here, and he had called me, which Jonna Wright is his wife, and she's a principal here. And he called and wanted to know if I knew of anybody that might be looking. Coach Guthrie had decided to to let everybody know. And you know, I guess when you get to a certain point, I was ready. I felt like I was ready for a change,
Do something different.
another challenge,
Yeah.
check myself kind of thing.
You're going
you
to
know.
get it. I
So,
don't mean it to be me, Coach Counce,
and
because it's pork chop is.
you can't get any better than this.
That's it. That's what I was
You
getting
know,
ready to say.
you
It's
know,
the best.
best region, toughest region in the state of Tennessee. The, 6A football, and you know, couldn't get any better than that.
You got 7 games you know of on your schedule that are going to be so much fun that you know is going to be a packed house wherever you are, whether you're at home or you're at some other place. And by gosh, it's going to be money on the lines. I mean, yeah, your non-conference games are there, but the idea of knowing if I'm a sophomore and I got 1 game at home and 1 game away, and I'm going to get 14 games if I play football for the next 2 years, and I get to crack helmets with everybody in this town. It's gosh, I mean,
You know, and playing good people, you're only going to get better by playing good people. And I tried to do the same thing in Henry County. And
because
we,
you knew
we
if you got
played
to a certain,
Riverdale.
because if you get
know.
to a certain point in round 4, if you're not
had to-
ready, you'll get
That's
your
right.
you'll get it
That's right.
handed to you, buddy.
You've got to be acclimated to those kind of things before you get there. And you can't just turn it on that time of the year.
No.
You've got to live that way.
Yeah, once you get to, and watching the successful teams and looking back across the ones that won the state championship, and you can revert even back to the Henry County runs. When you get to game 2, you start to get some mojo that you're not looking past game 3, but we do everything right. We're in game 4. We're
Right.
already there. All we got to do is go out and execute. When you're at that stage and you're that hot, and you get that extra 48 minutes under your belt, it gets you so ready for that round 4 game, because just about if you can capture round 4, whether or not you win the state. You've just about got wrapped up, because the kids are flying so high at that point. It's just now a matter of whether or not you can turn over some penalties.
Yeah. A great example, I think, of playing good competition week in, week out. We were in the region last few years with Beach, Hendersonville,
Yeah.
Springfield, and Springfield got hot last year.
They sure did. I filmed a game with them.
And,
They got hot.
They went to Munford and beat the number 1 team down there. Had gotten down
Beat Beach.
big, and
Beat
then
Beach.
they came back and beat us the next week, and then they came up here and went to Beach the next week.
I did that
So
game.
anyway, just getting hot at the right time.
And kids believing in themselves.
Playing good people and getting to believe in yourself and having, all that kind of stuff it snowballs into what you get that time of the year. But maybe you play over your head a little bit and all that, but that's what high school football is all about.
When you're Henry County and you're over in that type of geographical area and you compare to where you are now, the big difference, and you got 7 other schools that are, and not only that, you got Eagleville and Middle Tennessee Christian, and Providence Christian Academy. You've got so many other schools around you that are operating and everything. Is it what's the first thing you noticed when you got here at Rockville that was just like the big change as far as you knew that I'm in a different spot?
Well, I think number 1 is the size of the school.
Okay.
Obviously, we had 1,350 kids at Henry County.
It doubled in
And
your
so
eyes.
it's double in size. So there's more to choose from. But I think it goes back to what I'm doing now is trying to change the standards.
Okay.
We've got things that we need to operate in these kind of ways.
So you're an operations guy. Big time.
I think so we're trying to find the guys that can operate in under the standards that we try to live by.
Are you an offensive-minded coach or defensive-minded?
I'm an offensive guy.
Will you call the plays on
No,
Friday? Okay.
I don't care anything about calling plays. I'm an offensive line coach.
Okay. That's your specialty.
I played offensive line and I coached it for my dad for all those years. And when I being the head coach, I kind of had gotten away from that a little bit at Henry County.
Okay.
But I'm back into doing that here.
Well, if you can't get no push, you can't throw it.
I mean,
you gotta get push.
It's crucial to be sound and physical up there, and and that's going to be our style. We're going to be a pro style offense. We're going to have tight ends, sometimes 2. We're going to have a fullback. We're going to run the play action stuff off our run scheme. And, and just be sound in doing the things and being physical on both sides of the football.
And it don't have to be tricky as long as it's precise and it's got push behind it. You can move the football.
You can do these things, but you got these things off of it, and you can play games with people that you want to, and we won't be hang our hat on being, having the standards to operate the way we need to every day. If we can operate that way, then those kind of things will happen on the field, and I think we got to get to that here. Paying attention to detail and doing what I'm supposed to do, and being where I'm supposed to be, and checking my alignment. Whether that's an agility drill in workouts, or if that's lifting and doing something in the weight room, or if that's getting lined up to run a play. Am I listening to the play? If we can get those characteristics to happen, naturally, we have to create things to make them think that way. But if we can get them thinking that way all the time by habit, then that stuff out there should translate to the field. So, there's a lot of, there's some things here just like everywhere. We got hopefully we got the turf field, which is beautiful. And
it's amazing.
And we got over 100 kids. And we're, locker room scenarios and those kind of things. But we'll get there. We got,
all the schools have gone through it before they got a building outdoors or whatever. Right. They all had to find a way. You've got a great community out here.
And I tell you, it's
this community's got some money, and everybody knows it because you can see how quick they got that turf field.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of them that once it started, the run, and when NBA got it, they were the first really. I think in the state, because Joe Davis, rest in peace, Joe Davis. Which school was Joe Davis? I know Joe Davis.
I coached with Joe and actually lived in one of his rental houses there when we moved
Went
back
to school. I'd watch Joe Davis kick field goals 43 yards at EKU football games at halftime, and he's donating $500,000 to EKU football. It was great. Joe was great.
Great guy.
Yeah.
But, it's those kind of things that happen over time. And, one thing, when I came up here, and back to telling you, when you get, I grew up in Paris. I went to high school there. My dad coached there for a long time. Then we left. I came to college, went to Dyersburg where my dad was. My mom wasn't in good health, so we wanted to kind of be close to her. Then we go back to Henry County and did all those things. I think just wanting the challenge, but when I came up here to interview, there was something about it. I mean, I can't explain it.
It's special.
I can't explain it.
It's special. It's a special place. I tell people that all the time.
Call me like, "What are you doing?" But I said I can't explain it, but it's something special there, and I think that it's
there's nothing like it on Friday nights.
It's untapped, and it's a situation where I think it's a sleeping giant, and is that going to take time? I don't know what the timeline is. I just know I'm coming to work every day, and these coaches are coming to work every day, and these kids are buying in, and all I can tell you is it'll happen when it happens. But we're having fun now, and getting ready, going through the summer and doing the things that we all do. But we're enjoying it.
I don't, we've added the schools, and I don't, when I first started in 2000, I was telling you before I started, just when, I first started filming. I was filming for Phil down in Smyrna and everything. When I first started, and you just had, Blackman was just formed. They had just opened, okay? So they had just opened. So Blackman was on the schedule that year, and that was the first school. But since then, we've added it. It is true. It's not changed the complexity or anything of this county for some reason. I don't know why, but the sprinkle of dust and the water or whatever you want to call it. But this area, long about, Ron Adelot is the one that coined it, long about week 5, week 6, you're going to know just about, okay, we know who's got the guns. Everybody knows who you got to go be. And from there, and now you know just about how far you think you can go in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You just about got a pretty good idea. As long as you stay healthy.
Right.
There's so many factors in there that if you lose a quarterback, people don't understand high school football. You got to have a dealer. You got to have a kid, and he's got to be able to play quarterback. But all the coaches I think that I've ran into that have had whether you're an assistant coach, you've been a head coach, or whatever, once you get a taste of Rutherford County football, you say there's nothing else like it. I mean, there's no question. It is just because it's like you say, it's every Friday night. And if they lay it up in you and you get beat, you hear about it for a year. You know, you got to live here in the county because
that ought to make that ought to be influence there to make you work hard.
Anything we need to tell the parents and the kids' parents that right now that have football players on the team, something that you just like to tell them is that just communicate or you have your kids here on time. We've got we're gonna have weightlifting, we're gonna have this, we've got a football camp coming up. Well, what is the message? Or is it if you have a problem, come see me directly for the courageous conversation, as we all put it.
Right.
Thomas McDaniel's the one, Coach Thomas McDaniel. I didn't know what a courageous conversation is, and he said that's a parent that comes to you that their child is a third string quarterback and wants to talk about playing time, and I spend 7, 8, 9 hours a day with their child, and they're wanting to tell me how that they know more about his ability to play football than I do.
Right.
And I'm not being mean, but Coach McDaniel phrased that up so well that Coach Cecil Goff, rest in peace, who coached my brother in basketball, he would send a letter to all the kids and it would, to the parents that says, your child is now a part of our basketball squad. These are the times the bus leaves, and this is the times they'll come to practice, and so on and so forth. But the last thing I want to leave to you is, I'll talk to you about your son's brushing his teeth, wearing deodorant, anything other than his play.
Right.
That is not a conversation we'll have any discussion on between us. I'll decide what his playing time is. So what is?
Well, and I would say this, make sure, we would want the parents to communicate. We've got, ways to do that.
Yes.
Make sure that you get signed up and get involved. That's one thing that I hear is that we need our parents to get more involved.
Well, you shouldn't have a voice. You shouldn't have a voice unless you are involved.
That's right. From top of the roster to the bottom of the roster. Everybody, we need to get more parents involved in everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
And with that, about the coaching part, all I can offer and tell them is that their son's going to get an opportunity. We evaluate Monday through Thursday. We film everything we do. We sit down as a coaching staff and watch the film. And we feel like in the way that we do things and in the reps that we're doing, your son is getting the reps that he has earned. And there's something there if there's something that
well,
they
and there's
feel
some
like,
intangibles in there you got to figure in too, because there's
Right.
different kids put that helmet on Friday night, and
Right.
I mean Charles Arona played for Smyrna. I used to say to him, we were on our way to a combine one time, and I'm talking to him. I'm trying to get him psyched up, buddy. We're going up here to this Nike combine. I need you to be ready to run the 40 and the 3-cone, and I need you to jump higher than you ever have, Charles.
Yeah.
You know what he looked at me and said? He said, Sork, I don't give a damn about no combine. All I care about is when them lights come up on Friday night and I shoot through that tunnel. It's showtime. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, that's the way those kids think. That Friday night, that band playing, that's the adrenaline, that's the commission.
And that should be.
It's
that
the
should
commission.
Be, but they got to be able to do the thing, throughout the week in preparation that we feel like, because that's a big part of it too. So they got to be good teammates, and they got to practice and put the time in and earn the spot. No, we evaluate kids that get opportunities where the kid wants to talk about what he needs to do and that kind of stuff. Hopefully he's getting that feedback every day anyway.
Yeah.
He's getting that feedback. So there shouldn't be any question in the things that they need to work on or whatever.
Well, and be honest with yourself. I mean, I was telling my boss the other day, I don't have a problem saying, man, I didn't look very good on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, or I didn't handle that right, or should have done this, or I should have done that.
Right.
And that's one of the things I struggle with a lot. I beat up myself because that's the only way you're going to get better out there in whatever you're doing. And with me, it's putting steel in there. That's what I do. I love to build towers, but in some of the land deals that get away from me, I try to go back and say, what happened there? What fell apart? you know, usually the biggest thing is they want more money than I can give. That's usually what it is. Last but not least, you're going to, and then I'll leave it to you if you have anything you want to add before we close. But you're going to be working with a lot of new people inside this school, and you've had a chance to meet some of the faculty and staff and everything. And Steve Luker runs a great show and everything. But you was talking about the size of the school and everything. You got 100 kids. You mentioned everything. What's the biggest thing you tell those? What's the biggest thing you tell those people that you're going to be working with? You know, probably about that open door policy. If there is, whether it's good or bad, you want to know all about the kid. I mean, Gary Rankin, Coach Rankin goes to the track meets. He goes and he supports the school and the kids. So I'm sure you sound like that type of guy.
Yeah, and I got here in January, and we started to work. As soon as I got here, I have had the opportunity to meet a lot of these teachers.
Yeah.
With meeting those teachers, I'm talking to them because of maybe a situation with a player.
Yeah.
And their classwork and that kind of stuff, and so I think they have got to know me and know that I'm here and going to be down here with these guys and working with them, and one of the other reasons was when I came up here and met Mr. Luker, and I tell you what, he
sports-minded principal.
Sports-minded
principal.
I really think a lot of Mr. Luker and the opportunity, and it has been fun, and the good thing about that is we're just getting started. So I might be able to keep him out of retiring and let him hang around a little bit, but
that's going to be tough.
But anyway.
Any last things you want to say before we wrap it up here?
No, I appreciate you.
Okay.
Obviously,
this is your first. This is your first one.
My first deal.
And how did you think Inside the Headset went for you?
Oh, it's been fun, and I enjoy it. I hope you come back a lot, and I just like for everybody to know that it's going to be a little different over here, and we're trying to do things the right way, and hopefully we can get everybody involved and get on the train, and let's have fun and do things right, and feed into these kids and help mentor them in the right way.
All right, kids, that wraps it up with Coach Counce. This is what's going to happen with me. I got to go to Indiana and Michigan for a couple of days. When I get back, we'll run through the coaches that are in the fraternity. We've lost a few coaches, and you will see that when we have that Wednesday night edition of some of the old faces. Though we'll see around. That will be a taped show, or that'll be a live show that I'll do from the house. So I will not be. I do have one more on location scene. I do need to get down to Laverne. We are going to add Laverne to the Inside the Headset. I do need to get down there and see those guys. That's on the agenda. But we appreciate you joining us on this episode. And be sure to tune in again. We're running around the county, and we're going to get to all of them. See you then.